Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Today, we're going to talk a little about the U.S. versus Paraguay and maybe how it ties into the Argentinian friendly as well. Just to let everybody know, the scheduled meeting with Grant Wall will actually be next week, April the 8th, probably aired around April the 9th. But Brett, let's talk about U.S. versus Paraguay. It seemed like we played, the way we wanted to. We played a 4-4-2 for almost the whole game. We played much better than we did in the first half versus Argentina. And although we had most of the possession and we seemed to be attacking all game long, we couldn't score, so we got the wrong result. We lost.
I think we can take away two things from this match, and actually from the Argentina match as well. We should definitely stick with the 4-4-2, which we went into links about.
Right.
In the last show.
Don't need to go into that
again. No, we don't. And the other thing is, we are a team that actually can possess from time to time. I mean, over the years, we've hammered it in. You and I have hammered it in. Just the media in general have hammered it in that, we're going to be a counter-attack style team. We're going to be defensively sound, and we're going to look to spring our wingers who act as more central mids more than anything, and then looked for that quick attack. And we showed against Paraguay that we can actually possess the ball. I mean, it looked 100 times better.
It did. The only thing I would say, and I think I mentioned this before, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more patience here and there from our midfield. I did think there were some through balls, some unnecessary through balls where we lost possession. We gained it right back time and time again whenever we lost possession. But I'd like to see a little bit more slower build up until we can trap the opponent in his own half.
Baby steps, Derek. Baby steps.
Yeah. But go ahead.
We can't go from counter style to Barcelona style overnight.
Well, that's my point. I think Barcelona style, sure. I think that the point is that even though we played more possession ball, I think our instinct to jump all over any potential attack and try to put a through ball through that might be too dangerous of a through ball. I think that instinct, that counter-attacking instinct that we have, is still with us. Why we attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked yesterday, and when I think at times it might have been a good idea to kind of settle down and wait for an opening to develop. And that would, like I said, that's my only real criticism, because I thought generally we did have more of the possession, and we tried to play offensively. Kind of
some people would argue with the inclusions of maybe Stuart Holden or Torres or somebody like that. Perhaps that would have happened. Maybe it would have slowed down the match.
Yeah, it could have.
You won't know until it happens. But.
Right. I think it's time, and we've mentioned it before, that we see Stuart Holden get that start when he's healthy, and get that start in center midfield. Not that Michael Bradley did a poor job. I thought he did fine. Not as good.
I thought he was our most consistent center mid throughout the two games, in my opinion.
Right. Not as good as he did in the second half against Argentina.
No.
But then again, that could also relate to the fact that maybe Maurice Adu did not have the same kind of game he did in the second half versus Argentina as well. And so when you have two guys that are just not clicking on all full cylinders, Adu clicking on a lot less than Bradley was, it just kind of made the midfield situation a little awkward at times, and I felt like Bradley was kind of left on an island back there with the back four sometimes. So
I think both Adu and Bradley had instances where they played well. I think Bradley more so, obviously, than Adu, but I think they both made mistakes. Both gave away passes that they shouldn't have given away.
Yeah.
And it's time to see what our depth can do at that point. That's why I was hoping when Jones was coming in on the second half, I was really hoping that Bradley was going to come out. Not necessarily because of his play, but just because it's a friendly, and who gives,
Right, and it would have given us a chance to see somebody else play that, the quarterback role in the midfield other than Bradley, because he's really been the only guy doing it, and Jones hasn't really had an opportunity to do it yet. Maybe I think maybe it was his first game Jones played with us. He played more of that kind of role, but not really since then. And again, if you're not going to have Holden give it a try, why not let Jones give it a try? And I thought Jones got more comfortable in the second half as the second half progressed. I thought he looked better and better. But, there just weren't a lot of opportunities on because the defense of Paraguay was so tight. It was so locked down. A guy would be open for a second, and the next second he'd be closed down on immediately.
The Paraguayan defense was unbelievably solid. They were composed. They did well to shut us down, and as Dempsey even said, they did well to frustrate us. They weren't afraid to foul, disrupt a lot of the plays, and hell, with the quality of free kicks that we were taking that match, that seems to be the best option to have stopped us from doing anything.
Oh, I thought Agadello, even Josie, but especially Dempsey, did great at getting us some really opportune set pieces in great places. But somebody else had an off day yesterday, and his name was Mr. Landon Donovan, because his usual very good set piece crosses were off, to say the least.
To say the least, yeah.
Yeah, it was uncharacteristic, and I'm sure we're not going to see that happen very often, but we really blew a lot of opportunities there. But I think the story of the night there were two stories for me. The first story was Timothy Chandler showed that whatever he showed versus Argentina was not a fluke. It wasn't a one-time thing. He played two exceptional games in a row. And I think if you consider the fact that Steve Cherundolo is going to be 35, 36 years old come the next World Cup, Timothy Chandler is looking more and more like the future in that back spot.
Well, what's funny is the announcers talked. One of the best things about Chandler is that he's versatile. He can play that right back, he can play that right mid. But quite frankly, I thought it was the same position regardless of where he played.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically played a winger all game long. I mean, he came back. Obviously, he was the right back for majority of the game, but it was pretty much a winger role for him.
Yeah.
But I thought that. I mean, he's good. He was solid on the defense. He was exceptional in the attack. He gave their left back a lot of fits with his speed. And his crossing was better than Donovan's was, obviously. But
right.
I mean, a lot of the dangerous crossing came from him. It definitely did not come from Bornstein. I'll put it that way.
Oh, Bornstein. Yeah, I mean, I think the comment I would make about Bornstein, and not to belabor it too much, is the fact that he would start at left back even in game 2 points to a real serious weakness that we definitely have to fix soon, because Josh didn't do anything, or Jonathan didn't do anything horrible. He did make a few mistakes, and he just didn't do anything good.
No, yeah, it's pretty much the best way to describe it. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing Pierce back out on the field. I would also like to see Lloyd get another shot.
Yeah,
obviously not necessarily not against Spain or even so much bringing him up during the Gold Cup, but in upcoming friendlies, I would like to see it happen.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Bornstein
couldn't be any worse. We'll put it that way.
Just because the guy, plays and has played in the Mexican League doesn't necessarily give you a step up on the rest of the guys in MLS.
Well,
I don't
playing
think.
in the Mexican League as a left mid, though.
Yeah, that's true as well, and it's another thing to consider. Whereas Lloyd, I thought when he played last time, Forrest looked fantastic.
Oh, I agree completely.
So, another try there, maybe somebody different. How about Tim Ream, though? Who's been kind of lost underneath all the hoopla about Timothy Chandler, who honestly deserved it. But Tim Ream was great last night. Oh,
he was exceptional. It was amazing to have a center back who was willing to distribute and distribute well.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't count how many times he made a nice 20, 30-yard, long pass to somebody, and it would be spot on to his feet.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You don't see that with Bocanegra. You don't see it with Gooch.
Oh gosh.
And we saw a little bit of it with Demerit. I thought Ream brought out the best in Demerit for the 30 minutes that he actually played.
Every time Tim Ream lifted up his head to pass a ball 30 yards on the ground down the field, I just thought, oh God, he's gonna. Here's his first bad pass. Here it comes.
Never came.
But it would always find somebody. It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful. It's a breath of fresh air, and hopefully we can find another center back that can do the same thing.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. How about Agudelo? He looked pretty good again last night. He got the full 90. While I found that at times Josie Altidore just seemed to disappear, whereas Agudelo was everywhere.
I do think Agudelo is everywhere, and he does bring a lot to the game. I think he's an exceptional player. He'll definitely, in my opinion, I think he's definitely going to be contending with the second starting role up top if we continue the 4-4-2.
We better.
As far as Josie goes, I think he kind of gets a bum rap as far as some of this goes because, I thought he did well enough with trying to develop the chemistry with Agudelo.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
There were obviously some flubs, some poor plays. I still think he and I'm even going to throw Dempsey under the bus here, go down a little too easily.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice. I mean, obviously I know Dempsey and I know Josie both got hit several times.
Right.
But there were times where there was like minimal contact and they went down and the ref wasn't having it.
Too much time. Time in Europe, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, but it was just.
It's an art form.
I hope that they'd sort of man up a bit to an extent. It's weird to say that something about like Dempsey because Dempsey is
he's a tough guy, but it's an art form, and Dempsey has there are a few times here and there where Dempsey doesn't get the call, but I'd say the majority of the time Dempsey's falling on his ass. He's getting a whistle.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. No, most of the time he's falling on his ass. He's getting hit too. I'm not saying he dives by any means.
Sometimes.
Hard times he does dive, yes. And speaking of no calls, what was up with the no call PK?
Well, those are one of those calls that a lot of referees just don't have the balls to make, and they'd rather just no call it, rather than maybe do something controversial.
While we're talking about Agudelo, one thing I love about the kid is that he has such a great positional awareness. He knows how to move his body to be able to shield the player off or to take the hit. He has the ability, he has the dribbling ability, he has the shooting ability, but I think his positional awareness is what's going to make the difference.
Maybe this is more perception than reality, but I think it's a reality. And I'd like to count it up. But the number of times that through balls from the midfield or from anywhere else ended up at Agudelo, Agudelo's feet instead of Altidore's feet, lets me know this is a guy who knows how to find open space so he can present himself to receive a pass. Again, maybe something Altidore needs to call Juan up and ask him about. Well, how the hell are you doing that? Because
he just seems hungrier.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem like Altidore is available.
And this might not be the case, but perhaps Josie has just become comfortable as a lock starter. And with the inclusions of Agudelo and Bunbury, and then even throw in the case of Buttle, you're looking at a striking force that might actually oppose some competition, and he might not be a lock down the road, especially if Teal continues to improve the way he's been doing.
He shouldn't be a lock. Unfortunately, we're so thin in that area right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Here in the next year or so,
exactly.
He might not be a lock anymore. He might have to be one of those players that actually has to fight for a spot.
It's only thin, I think, because so many of our quality strikers are so young, like Josie is. Mm-hmm. And I think there was a whole generation, apparently, between Brian McBride and Josie Altidore that never really developed into the kind of strikers that we here in the United States need. And that's
we certainly had our hopes.
Yeah, that's a long...
DJ and Twellman.
Yeah, long generation gap there. Amazing. Yeah. From McBride to this generation. We're talking almost 15, 16, 17 years between the two. To close things out, I want to thank the fans in Nashville for not making asses of themselves. Until next time on the Straight Red Card, take care.